No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Okay. Don't drop. Super fragile.
Hey guys, thanks for coming back. So today, just a real quick project. I want to make a camshaft installation tool. Reason I need to make this tool is the next step on my engine build series, which I'm also doing right now, is to install a cam. And for years I've been installing camshafts with a bolt sticking out of the end of the cam. I'm sure you guys have done this. You're kind of just wiggling the thing around, tink, 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 smashing the bearings as you slide the cam in. So the goal here today is to create a nice, comfortable handle that we can have sticking off the end of the crank, or the cam, rather, to give us a little more control as we insert the cam into the block as to not damage the new bearings. So we got a few things to look at, selection of material, and then we're going to set up the lathe, and we'll get to making this part. It's real easy. Should be like a 10-minute video or so, so stick around. Thanks. First stop is the bin. Forgive my my organization here. I know it needs to change. Okay, so I'm thinking aluminum for the handle. That actually might work. My options are steel, which I think is probably super overkill, and then I've got a lot of different plastics, Delrin, and things like that, which I think could work, but I think the weight of the aluminum is probably better to balance at the end of the cam, and I just think steel might be overkill, and I like working with aluminum. It's easy and pretty fast. This could work, but it's pretty small, and I want to get knurls on the whole handle, and I don't think I could do that with this piece. Let's see, what else do I got? Okay, I guess maybe that's it. For round stock, that's way too big. That's too nice. Actually, I know what that's for. I bought that to make some standoffs for something. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's our guy. Let's take a look at the Delrin and just rule it out here. Some acrylic. I don't have any good pieces in here either. Okay, so it's that piece of aluminum or steel. Or wood, I guess. Which, that's no good. Okay, so I guess that's what we're doing. We'll figure out a way to make it work. That's the winner. Aluminum. Alright, so we need... What do we need? We need to face this off. And then, man... So I'd like to put knurling on this. It would be nice to have that for a handle. But the problem is I don't have enough room to hold on to it to knurl the whole thing. So maybe I can hold on to it like out here, turn it slow, and then knurl up to it. Make that the bottom. That's what we'll do. We'll start with that. We'll face both sides. We'll use a form tool to make a nice radius on the edge here. And then we will cut some knurls in it. Let's do it. Okay, so we got a form tool loaded up. You can see that. They call it a form tool because the form of the cutting tool is what the part will take once you jam the tool into the part. Alright, that's a pretty good view. I might be blocking some of it. Alright, we're going to come out, and we got a pretty good feed rate, or a good speed on the lathe. It looks like 900 RPM. Tool set right on center, and we're just going to run it in here nice and slow. Okay, so I sped this up because it's kind of boring to watch, but basically we're just working that form tool in. So the next thing, after we got these two features cut, we face it and then use this form tool to get that round shape around it. Next thing, we're going to center drill and final drill and tap the end of the tool for some threaded a threaded rod, or in this case just a bolt with the head cut off, 3/8/16. So here's what that looks like. Okay, so we are going to drill this 5/16 because the excuse me, the thread that it needs is 3/8/16, and that requires a 5/16 drill. Sorry about the shakiness. I didn't notice this when I was filming it, but I've got the camera actually set up on the lathe, so that's why it's jumping around a little bit. I'll probably try and figure out some way to hang a camera or do something better in the future so we can get some better shots of working on the machine. Alright, I got the tap loaded up in my chuck, and okay, controversial moment, but I'm going to power feed the first, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch of thread, so just relax. I'm sure someone's going to have something to say about it. Done. Alright, so what that did is it ensured that I got it lined up. So now I know that the axis of or that the tap is following the axis, the center of the part there. Let me get a tap wrench and we'll tap it in the rest of the way. Okay, so there are about a million different ways I could have done this. I know I could have taken it out of the part, and taken the part out of the chuck and put it in the vise, and then tapped it in by hand that way. This way ensures, at least in my brain, ensures that it stays straight, and it's pretty easy. It kind of, I have the weight of the chuck and all the gearing and everything in the lathe that kind of pushes back against it. Keep in mind, I don't do this with anything other than like plastic or aluminum. So if it's a steel part or something, I can't get away with this. But in this instance, just tapping it here in the chuck and then working the chuck around by hand works fine. And that what you see right there, that I spun the chuck backwards and back the tap out, you got to be very careful that you're 100% sure that you're spinning the chuck the right way when you do that, and that you have a good handle on things. Or you could end up with your knuckle in the way of the lathe. It kind of rearrange some fingers. On second thought, just don't do some of the things that I do. Just watch it and take it for entertainment. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm putting the headstock in the back gear to slow it down. My lathe doesn't have variable speed. I change pulleys, or I can cheat sometimes and just put it in the back gear. Knurling is a slow RPM operation, so you want to get that slow. I don't know if you just saw that, but my chuck was kind of loose, oddly enough. These old Logans, they're threaded on, so if you run things backwards, sometimes you need to be really careful, or else you'll end up with that chuck in your lap. So here we go. We're gonna use. I've got one of those old school 3-way knurling tools, and you can see that the part is a little bit off centered. That's fine for knurling. It doesn't matter. We're going slow enough here that it's not gonna push the material around a little bit. And the knurling tool is on a center suspended piece there, so it kind of moves with the off-center nature of whatever you're turning. So it worked out really good. I ended up doing 3 passes on it, and I got a really decent knurl on it, which is good for me. I don't generally have a lot of success with knurling, but this one turned out pretty good. Okay, when I had this in the 3-jaw, I marked up the ends there with that. So I'd like to get those out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little aluminum pads on the jaws here, and I'm going to reinsert this part, and hopefully we can get this to not mark up, and I can pull those marks out. And you'll see here in a second. This ended up working out just fine. Just got it clamped in there, and then ran the tool, took a couple thousandths off, took the marks up, and it gave me a nice crisp edge right up against the knurling too. So win-win on that one. Maybe don't do this.
That move's probably not OSHA approved. Okay, now we got something. Nice knurling all the way down. It's a good handle. It's not big, but it's a little bit smaller than my hand, but it's big enough. Comfortable curve on the end. Some good knurling for grip when everything gets oily, because you know you're going to be all greased up when you slide that cam in. And then last thing you do is put that head of that bolt in there, and we're good. Alright, last thing is to install the threaded rod, which I cut from a bolt. Looks like I need to blow that out first. There we go. There it is. Camshaft installation tool. There it is, installed on the cam. Gives us a nice handle to work with.